days, but I remember the first time that I launched my first online course. It was such a, I was shocked at the number of countries that we reached. I was just, what year was this? 2013. I launched my first online course, and people from over 9 countries signed up. I was having people from Saudi Arabia, Tanzania. I'm like, what? Oh my God! Like, I didn't believe it, but it was happening. So now I've gotten used to it, and it's no longer a big deal for me. But I found that the internet is so powerful. When you just put something out there, you don't know how people somewhere will get a hold of it, and they can patronize your product.
But how did it all come about? How did you start this particular niche? Because it's quite foreign for some people.
So at the time, I had this hobby, Ankara accessories. I knew how to make Ankara accessories, so I used to make them. All right, and then one day I said, you know, I would like to teach other people how I make these accessories. I've done this thing for a while. I've earned so much money from it. It has helped me all through when I was in school, when I was doing my master's, my first job. Like, I always had this nice side hustle. So I said, just imagine if other ladies can also have an extra stream of income. You know, let me do some trainings for them. I did my first training. I planned it. I created, you know, work toolkits. I did all sorts of things, and nobody showed up. Nobody, not one person. And so, you know, it was a very emotional for me. I cried and cried and cried, and after crying, I cleaned my eyes and I said, there must be something I did wrong. Let me figure out what it is. And I realized that I didn't market it properly. I didn't market it online. At the time, I thought that social media was a fad, and it would just, you know, after a while, all these buzz about Facebook would go. But when I saw that I had this training program, nobody attended it. I said, let me go and try social media marketing. Let me really put myself out there. And so I did this training, and the first class, 4 people came. I said, okay, all right, it's a good sign. It's a good sign.
A good place to
so
be.
I kept marketing it online, and then I started getting people messages from people in Yola, Ekiti State, Calabar. Stephanie, I really want to attend your training, but I can't travel right now. Can you come to my city? You know, I was getting messages from different places. I couldn't go to all these cities, and so I said, okay, what if I do an online course? What if I do an online training, and all these people can watch my training videos, and I don't have to travel to all these different cities?
It's exactly the same thing you'd have thought if you were present there.
Yeah. So I created the online course. It was an experiment. You know, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. Let me just see if it will work. This was 2013. The internet was not that, you know, a lot of people did not have access to data.
The internet bubble that we have now wasn't
and at that time, we even did not really have 3G, so your phone was always on GPRS, then you had to change the setting to 3G. So it was, you know, not everyone had access to smartphone, but I said, let me just try. I did, and to my amazement, people paid for these trainings. People kept on paying for these trainings, and they kept on paying from different parts of the world. And it opened my eyes to this online education industry. And what I did not realize at the time is that this industry was already over worth $100 billion. In the Western market, and it was very well developed. So people already knew what it was to create and sell online courses. But in Africa, we hadn't even started, because we were just getting access to the internet and stuff like that. That's how I discovered it, and I've been launching online courses ever since then.
Because we see even Harvard Business School now has their online platform where they are monetizing, you know. Well, let's talk a bit about people's skill and experiences. Do you think we're taking advantage of our skills and experiences well enough?
I think that we haven't, I'm talking as a country now, we haven't done so well. And the first problem is that a lot of people don't know that they can even monetize their knowledge. So people don't even know. So they have skills, they have expertise, but they just have it.
Or maybe they don't know how to go about it.
Yeah, so some just have it, they don't know anything about it, some don't know how to do anything. Some don't know what to do. Some are a bit scared about tech. It looks complicated, and so because they don't want to start, you know. But it's a big opportunity that we can all take advantage of.
I mean, when people hear tech, I'm running away, and I don't know.
Yeah, so there's this widespread phobia, and it's very common among women. If you talk to women about creating online courses, the first thing they'll tell you is, hey, I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie. And you know what I always say? So when I was starting out my first online course, I had to build an online school. Like there's so many techie things I had to do because there were no platforms.
Did you have that background before?
I had a first class in computer science.
Okay.
And so I guess I wasn't scared of technology. Thank you. And so I could say I can figure this out. You know, I had that attitude. But I found that as I started helping women, they struggle with the tech. Not everybody is like me. Not everybody, you know, has studied, you know, computer science. Not everybody wants to do anything with tech. Some people have had very horrible experiences before. And so...
Now, I've had my own experience. I won't share, but I've had my own experience.
Yes. So I was discovering all of this. And so we decided to then build a tech platform that makes it very easy for anybody to create and sell online courses. So we now have it. It's called Train Quarters. Okay. And so what I now tell people is that it's now so easy to now create and launch an online course because you don't have to be a techie, you don't have to know how to code.
You don't have to develop from scratch anymore.
If you can use Facebook, if you can use Instagram, you can use this kind of platform because we've made it easy for you. Just open an account and then you're good to go. So, but when I was starting, it was tough. And I will admit it, it was tough. Oh God.
I can't imagine.
There's so many things we have to figure out, but yeah, it's now easy.
So now you specialize in helping people monetize their skill online. How has this experience been for you? And what are the basic things that are necessary to create like an online platform?
So
first, for starters.
First of all, you need to be clear about what you want to teach. All right, just what do I have that I can teach? And the mistake a lot of people make is that they think it has to be one
something out of the moon.
Look, it can be anything. It can be how to cook. It can be how to style your hair. We have clients who have done courses in all these kind of topics. Very simple, easy-looking topics. But what somebody is very good at, and that person will be weak at that thing. So, you know, if you're good at something, don't think everybody is good at that thing. Some people don't know how to do it, and they want to learn how to do it too. So the first thing is I pick a topic. You have to just decide, I'm going to teach this thing. And of course, you have to see whether there's a market for it. If I decide to teach this thing, are there people who are going to pay for this online course? That's the first thing, to validate your ideas. After that, the second step is that you structure your online course. Okay, this is going to be my outline. This is how I'm going to deliver the course. It'll be over 6 weeks, over 8 weeks. I will title it this. This is how much I'm going to sell the course. You know, that is just packaging the course, structuring it so that it becomes like an asset. It becomes property, you know. The next step is that you now start growing your audience. Because each time you want to, when you create a course, you are creating it for a set of people. Yes. When you want to market the course, you're marketing it to a set of people. So you need to have that audience that you're grooming and nurturing them, talking to them, attracting them. Because online, it's like it's kind of a scary place because you don't know if you're going to get scammed or if somebody's going to steal, you know, take your money and disappear.
There are quite a number of scammers.
Yeah, things like that.
You must say.
So you have to first of all, attract your audience. Then get them comfortable with you. Get them to trust you.
I think that's very important.
Yes, it's very important. So that they feel like, oh, if I send her money to pay for this online course, she won't run away with my money. She's going to give me the videos that I paid for. Yes. So that's very important. Growing this audience and getting them to know you, to like you, to trust you, to rave about you, talk to their friends about you. When you have this audience, you can then sell your online course to them. And you can sell multiple online courses to them, but this time they'll easily buy from you because they now trust you. All right? And then, funny enough, the last step is to create your course content. Because all this is work. Growing that audience, getting them to trust you, that is where the work really is. But the last step is shooting videos and talking. If I wake you up from sleep and say, come and teach you this thing, you know it. So you just quickly talk about it. But the part that requires more work is getting people to trust you online.
All right, you talked about creating videos, for example. Do you have particular kind of cameras that you recommend that these people make use of? When they take a look at some of the videos you create, not some, all of them as a matter of fact, there's this crisp, pretty, almost very clear touch to it. What's the secret? Because honestly, I've seen some videos online, just the quality puts me off. Once what was this person thinking? Sometimes the person's head starts from here. What happens to the rest of your head is gone. So what are those particular things I should also take note of while creating videos for your your online content?
One of the things I always think about is I think about how my viewer will feel when they're watching this course. So in particular, because I talk about tech, I know that they're scared of tech. I know that they already have fences up. And so I try to make them feel comfortable. So make the place look nice, make it look, so it's intentional. So you make the video, the ambience look nice. They enjoy watching you. They enjoy listening. They don't even know when they're like, okay, this is not that scary.
Tech in a pretty space.
Yeah, it's not that scary. But that's for my own audience.
Okay.
Now, if I was speaking to a different audience who did not care about all those, you know, bells and whistles, you can make it, okay, guys, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to do this, that. So it really depends on the audience you're speaking to and how you want to make them feel. That will then determine the ambience of your course, of your videos, the voice you use, the decor, like the background and all of that. It really depends on the audience. Secondly, there are no hard and fast rules about the equipment and all of that. If you don't want to get involved in it, you can just outsource it. If you want to do it yourself, you can get a camera. I don't like making the barriers to entry very high. So any camera you can afford, you can start with that.
Whatever phone.
The great thing about online courses is that you can launch version 1. After a while, you upgrade it and launch version 2. After a while, you know, as your brand grows, you can look at those videos and say, this video is not what my brand. I need to
upgrade.
Scale it up. Yeah, but what's very important is you start. So no matter what level you are, you can decide to do it yourself with whatever camera you have, or you can decide to outsource it to someone who can do it for you. Or you can even decide to record your slides, do video recordings, where you're just recording your slides. But it depends on what kind of online course you're teaching. When I was creating my first online course on how to make Ankara accessories, that one was a practical class, so I needed videos to show my hands and what I was doing. But if you're teaching something like maybe English or something like communication, it's just me talking and I'm just explaining certain things to you. In that case, you can actually use a slide presentation and just record your voice over the slides. Yes.
How expensive is this? Do you need a capital of what? 100,000, 200, 300? So, because people tell you, I have the skill, but the money I don't have.
The beauty about this thing is that no matter where you want to start from, there's a way to go about it. If you want to say, I'm going to do DIY, you can just use your phone. You can use your phone, you won't pay anything. If you say, I want to go high tech, nice videos, I want the animation to go like this, that's all you pay for that. So it depends on what your budget is.
Okay,
any amount.
All right, so we're going to hold on for a bit now.
All right.
We'll take a quick break. Remember, you're still watching Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa. Do stay with us.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Thank you for staying with us. All right, Stephanie, let's just talk a bit about consistency. I know we touched a bit on it before we went on break, but when you're creating your online content, the need for consistency.
So there are different reasons why you need to be consistent. Number one, I'll start with
clarity of idea as well.
All right. So I'll start with the one that I'll start with one a lot of people like to hear about. Number one is the money. Now, let me tell you something. If you launch your first online course, let's say you just launched your first online course, you can make your first $1,000 from your first online course. If you relaunch it again, you can make more. If you relaunch it again, you can make more. I've seen clients go from $0 to $10,000 just by being consistent, relaunching the course over and over and over again. So that alone is enough motivation. But you know what I find? People who are led to teach people, they're teaching because they really want to impact lives. So that's another angle. When you start impacting lives, you will start hearing the stories of the lives that are being transformed. And if you just hear one testimonial, that can keep you consistent. I can remember that the first online course I launched, back again when I was in Ankara Accessories, one girl from UK sent me a message. She said, Stephanie, when I came on your online course, I felt I was very sad. I was out of a bad relationship, and so I didn't feel like, I didn't feel like I could do more with my life. I was broken. I came on your online course. I learned Ankara Accessories. I started my own business. I'm now making my own money. Like, I don't have to rely on men anymore. I feel confident. I feel like I can achieve something. I've always wanted to go to fashion school, but I didn't feel I was good enough. I applied to fashion school, and I got in. I want to tell you, thank you for changing my life. Now, this was just one of the testimonials I got. I kept getting testimonials consistently. And so what you find is that this business helps you to impact lives and also make money. So it's a win-win. So no matter what you're motivated by, if you're motivated by impact, it works. If you're motivated by money, it also works. So that would help you to become consistent because you wake up and say, the work I do is important. There are lives that need to be changed. And if I put myself out there, if I keep launching these online courses, their lives will be changed, and I'll also earn a stream of income. Yeah.
All right. What are those major challenges that your clients complain about before they start their online courses?
So there are a number of them. The first one is clarity, like you mentioned. I'm not sure what to teach. I'm not sure if anybody wants to learn this topic. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. Who am I for people to pay me? And I'm not techie, I'm not pretty enough, I may not make sense. And so what I find is that a lot of the challenges that they're going through is all in their mind. So something, over the years, there are things that have told them consistently that what they have is nothing, that they cannot be more or do more. So they're holding on to those limiting beliefs, and it holds them down. So when they come on the program, it's like war against these negative thoughts that I've held for so long. But when they break through, it's like when they break through,
they start to blossom.
It's like, doing all sorts of things that they thought that they couldn't do before. But now, they can now, you see them launching all sorts of programs. It's like they've come into their own now. So the biggest challenge really is the mindset. The second challenge they have is strategies. Okay, you've told me about launching an online course, but how? How can I do it?
I know what I want to do, but how?
How can I do it? How can I get these results? The third challenge is the tech. They're terrified of it, or they've tried it before, it couldn't work out. So they don't think that they are the kind of people who can launch online courses. But now that has been resolved because of our tech platform that we just launched, Train Quarters. So those are the major challenges that they have.
How can online course providers ensure that they remain their contents consistently add value to their clients? Are there certain questions you should ask yourself?
Yes, but before you ask yourself those questions, you also have to ask the audience. So let me explain this. An online course is not just about you selling your knowledge or selling information. An online course is a solution to a problem. So before you create an online course, you must have identified the problem. These people are complaining about X, Y, Z. So when you come and say, when you come to the online course, you're asking, what can I teach them that will help them to resolve that problem that they have? So your course, when you're creating your curriculum, you'll be asking yourself, what's the first thing they have to know? What's the second thing they have to know? What's the third thing they have to know? All right, so you are asking yourself questions in response to the problem you have identified. So the first step is to go and do the research and to hear people complain about a particular problem. Then you go back and say, okay, based on the results I've achieved in my life, how can I help this person? Now, that when you go and do that research, there are times where you will say, this problem, I cannot solve it. It's not my problem. Maybe another person will solve it. But then you will also hear problems that you can solve. So your online course will focus on solving those particular problems. Now, if you focus on solving problems for people, that's the only way you can remain relevant. Because they will continually thank you when they've gotten results.
They'll keep coming.
They will keep referring your work. They will go to the hilltop and scream it that, oh God, this course changed my life. And because of that, a lot of people will sign up for the course. So that's why you will see online courses. The first time they launch, maybe 10 customers. Second time they launched, and they now have testimonials from the first set. They can double their number of customers. They can triple. They can grow times 10. And each time they keep relaunching, as they are relaunching and showcasing the testimonials of people who have been through the program, more people keep signing up.
And we need to leverage on these online platforms more. But we see that some businesses are still very comfortable using the traditional methods of selling.
Well, you know, like what they say, the day you wake up, it's your morning. The day you wake up is your morning. Sometimes when you see people doing stuff online, you don't realize how much they're making. When you start hearing how much people are making from doing online courses, you will wake up.
Oh, wow.
Especially because, you know, the thing about online courses is that you just do it once. You do the video recording once. And then you start selling those set of videos over and over and over again. Now, if you compare that to you always doing always expending energy, doing physical training, and then you have to pay for the hall, pay for food, pay for power, pay for this, pay for that. If you just do the numbers, you see which one is more profitable. So some people have just not seen the business opportunity, but one day they will see it. And
this particular conversation requires a lot of marketing, which some people may not be able to do themselves. So how would you advise that they push, you know, these platforms?
Well, especially if you're speaking to consumers, like individuals, there's no business, B2C related business that does not involve marketing. So if you are somebody who doesn't like marketing, it's a bigger problem. It means that other parts of your business will suffer. Yeah. So
this is something you have to outsource if you're not the...
I would say that you need to just deal with the reasons why you don't like marketing. Yeah, deal with it, because, you know, marketing and sales is the soul of the business. So it's what keeps money coming in consistently. So if you have a problem with marketing your business, then there's a bigger problem. We have to then deal with why are you not comfortable marketing your business? Do you feel like you're not giving value? If you're giving value, I want you to think of, I like to paint this picture. Imagine somebody has headache and you have Panadol, or you have a brand that can, a drug that can solve that person's problem, or the person has a disease or something, and you have a solution to that problem. Are you going to stay down in your house and say, I don't like marketing, let that person die? Is that not wickedness? Marketing is saying, I have a solution. Let me come out so that people who are suffering can see my solution. That's how to look at it. So it's not about forcing your product down people's throats. It's about saying, let me go out there and showcase my solution. People who need this will pay for it. And when you go with that mindset, it's not difficult to market an online course or any other product that you have.
And I think one of your selling points, I must say, at this at this particular juncture is your smiling, because I think that is one thing that everybody wants to come to your page and see you smiling.
Oh,
if you're running an online course, I don't want to see you. Well, is this supposed to be the person teaching me for the next 1 month?
Let me tell you something. It's just my own brand. Because some people come and see me smiling and they're like, oh, this girl, she's smiling. She does not know serious business because she's smiling. Let me go to somebody who, you know, wears suits, jacket, and be serious face. So you attract your tribe. So I've attracted a tribe of people who want to see a smiling face, happy people, and at least they are smiling as we're talking about the tech. All right, but some other people want somebody who's a bit more serious and stern, uptight. You know, to each his own.
Man, know your business, know your tribe, and just stick to it. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. And that's all on Ladies Talking Business. For more content of this nature, do follow us on Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also follow my social media handles at Ubani Irene on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you and bye. Until next time, I remain your host, Irene Ubani.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Amaka Okoye. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday in Malabo said leaders of neighboring countries would work together and provide all necessary assistance to secure the Gulf of Guinea. The president's spokesman, Malam Garba Shehu, said this in a statement that Buhari gave the assurance at a bilateral meeting with President Teodoro Obiang Ugume Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea on the sideline of the 2019 gas summit. Buhari expressed concern over the rate of piracy, kidnapping and smuggling in the Gulf of Guinea and called for more concerted efforts to end the tide of illegality. Still, President Muhammadu Buhari will on Monday perform the groundbreaking ceremony of the University of Transportation, Daura, and commissioning the Kwanargwante Road, which is off Kano Daura Road in Katsina State. Malam Garba Shehu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, confirmed this development in a statement in Abuja on Friday. He stated that the President had arrived in Daura, Katsina State after attending the 5th summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. According to him, President Buhari arrived at Umar Musa Yar'Adua International Airport at 4:20 p.m. local time and was received by Governor Aminu Masari. Still on national matters, the First Lady Hajia Aisha Buhari has alerted that things are getting out of hand in the country, noting that her husband alone cannot handle the challenges of the nation, and admonished the political class to work together to build the country out of the challenges. She spoke yesterday at the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs General Assembly and National Executive Council meeting at the National Mosque in Abuja with the theme Islam and National Development. Mrs. Buhari was quoted as saying, "We should either fasten our seatbelts and do the needful, or we will all regret it very soon, because at the rate things are going, things are getting completely out of hand. People cannot afford potable water in this country while we have governors. Since this is the highest decision-making body of the Islamic affairs, for those that are listening, we should fear God. And we should know that one day we will return to God and account for our deeds here on earth." End of quote. She also called for the regulation of social media, noting that China, with about 1.3 billion people, had done so, stressing that many people could not visit their villages on account of fake news broadcasts. In his opening remarks, the NSCIA President General and the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, said the nation must come together to address its challenges, insisting that the girl-child education and the Al-Majiri phenomenon must be addressed urgently. Now, Nigeria has succeeded in securing variation of the UK court order from cash payment of $200 million security to issuing bank guarantee of the same amount in respect of the PNID scam. Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, made this known in a statement issued by Dr. Umar Gwandu, the Special Assistant on Media and Public Relations of the Office of the Minister in Abuja on Thursday. The minister said the federal government appealed against the payment of $200 million security component, which was a condition for stay of execution of the judgment. The court granted the federal government's request for variation of terms of the order, seeking to provide bank guarantee in place of direct deposit. He said the success recorded so far in relation to the $200 million security deposit is that it remained in the federal government's custody while simply providing a document. Moving on, the Senate is calling for an immediate review of Nigeria's housing policy and mortgage financing such that Nigerians can have affordable housing nationwide. The motion, which was moved by Senator Albert Akpan, indicated the housing sector can also be used to provide available jobs for Nigerians because of its labor-intensive capability.
This Senate alarmed that the National Housing Policy projections of government by 2020 provide for a minimum of 17.5 million housing schemes in the country to cater for the projected population growth of 200 million Nigerians. This vision is practically unattainable. This Senate concerns that the national housing caters for only the housing needs of the working class contributors, whereas 80% of the active population of Nigeria remains unemployed. This Senate worried that the disposable loan limit through the funds was reviewed from 5 million to 10 million naira and 15 million 25 years ago, and has remained so till date, despite drastic economic changes over the years. And this Senate further worried that there exists little or no impact of the National Social Housing Development Program in the country over the years, and owing to the escalating population growth in our country, there is a dire and urgent need for a total review of our national housing policy framework to meet the needs of our people, especially the poorest Nigerians, in line with the various international conventions and treaties of which Nigeria is a signatory.
It's important for us to really review the policy of housing and also mortgage financing, not just because it provides to provide houses for people, but because the housing construction sector is a job creation industry. Because it is labor intensive, it provides a lot of jobs for the people.
If we look at Abuja, the houses in Abuja are more than the people living in Abuja. 3/4 of the houses are empty. Yet, the policy is still on.
And to health matters now, the Nigerian Senate is bothered about the inadequate commitment of the federal government to the funding for the prevention and treatment of persons living with HIV. The Senate, via a motion raised by Senator Chukwuka Utazi, said Nigeria's HIV prevalence rate has dropped in the last few years, despite a reduction of funding for the prevention and treatment of HIV from development partners. Senator Utazi said there is a need for the federal government to seize the initiative and support persons living with HIV while improving support for the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, to help prevent the spread of the ailment.
The Senate satisfied that NICE reports showed that HIV prevalence in the country dropped from 2.8% to 1.4% amongst adults aged 15 to 49 years, a feat which Nigeria is presently well applauded, and with a population of 1.9 million people living with HIV in Nigeria, over 1 million of the above figure are currently accessing treatment to achieve viral suppression. This Senate concerned that with the appreciable control of this epidemic and decreasing expectation of further shrinking, is the naked truth that the usual funding from foreign donors will equally shrink, leaving Nigeria to battle 37/37 in funding the management and care of people living with HIV, and therefore necessitates putting in place mechanisms to ensure that resources are available for continuity.
But I want to advise too that, at this time, when the news broke in those days, government found it very difficult because the drugs were very expensive. Now, a lot of these drugs have been subsidized. NACA that came on board in Nigeria, a lot of, international donors came, USAID, WHO, UNICEF, all of them made contributions to Nigeria. And the government at that time, too, was very serious because the disease was ravaging our populace. So I still believe that governments, too, must still, continually fund, funding so that we don't have a relapse of the disease, so that our people don't get infected. We have had different demographics, just like he said, in this country. The northern part of this country, the south, in fact, even states where we have found out that the prevalence rate has been very high. I think we don't want to mention those ones now so that they don't get stigmatized.
Away from that story now, the Lagos State government has declared zero tolerance for sexual violence, domestic violence and child abuse. According to the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, 3,942 cases of domestic and sexual violence has been reported from January to August. On the average, 200 new cases have been reported monthly since May 2019. In view of this, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, in partnership with the United Nations, organized a walk to create awareness on the advocacy against domestic and sexual violence. Our correspondent, Mercy, was there.
We're just rounding up our work for this very simple but very unique event. It's the second day in the 16th day that the United Nations have set aside for activities to mark violence against gender balance. And so Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Justice and other arms of the government, deemed it fit that we need to have this work to further confirm and to indicate our full government support of our advocacy around the stop of child abuse, the advocacy around rape against women and girls, we talk around domestic violence, sexual violence, and all other vices that are around abuse of children. Our government, by this work, confirms that we're totally against it. We stand against everything that speaks to this issue. And so we are using this advocacy to warn and to tell people to desist from it, to stay clear of it, because a full arm of law will be brought to bear on anybody or any institution or in any form that you found wanting.
To the commitment of the Lagos State government against all people who commit crimes against women, especially violence against women, rape against women, or any male or female, rape against male or female, and also abuse of children, and also marital abuse in terms of violence and what have you. So this work is to demonstrate the state's commitment and zero tolerance for all these acts of violence.
I think this is a very good move, especially when it concerns students. We are particular with students, you know. A lot of sexual harassment is ongoing almost everywhere. But the stand of Lagos State is that we must fight it. And this kind of campaign, we intend to take it to our schools in Lagos State. After this campaign today, we are going to have another one in our schools. So to make sure that these children are aware and that they should speak out, especially when you speak out, it will put an end to it. We will also let them know that this kind of campaign should be taken to homes. Let fathers, mothers be aware of what is going on, and children should please speak out.
See it and report it.
See it and report it.
End the silence.
End the silence.
And the news continue after the short break. Please do stay with us. We go to Namibia now, where President Hage Geingob took a commanding lead in the presidential election with roughly 2/3 of the votes counted following Wednesday's vote. Official data showed this on Friday. Geingob, Namibia's third leader since the sparsely populated and mostly arid country freed itself from the shackles of apartheid South Africa in 1990, was seeking a second and final term in the November 27th election. His SWAPO party is contending with an economy in recession for nearly 3 years, one of Namibia's worst droughts and its biggest corruption scandal, all of which conspired to make the vote unexpectedly tough for Geingob. He faced 9 challengers, including Panduleni Itula, a dentist-turned-politician who is SWAPO member but running as an independent candidate. Now, a South African court has found a police constable, Austin Reynolds, guilty of murder for killing a Nigerian, Ebuka Okoli. The president of the Nigerian Union of South Africa, Adetola Olubajo, in a statement on Friday, said the accused was found guilty in a 1-count charge of murder and 3 charges of robbery. Olubajo stated, and I quote, that NUSA welcomes the judgment of Judge Shyam Ganda on the brutal murder of Ebuka Emmanuel Okoli, who was shot dead by a police constable in Durban on January 19th, 2018. Ebuka, who was a native of Anambra State, was reportedly shot at close range during an allegedly illegal raid by Reynolds and his colleague on the community where the deceased resided in Durban. Still, a South African court on Friday has rejected an appeal by former President Jacob Zuma that sought to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges over a $2 billion arms deal. The ruling paves the way for Zuma's long-awaited trial to start in February 2020. Zuma, in office from 2009 to 2018, had previously applied for a permanent stay of prosecution on 18 charges of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering relating to an arms deal with French defense firm Thales in the 1990s. And that will be it on the African Scenes, and up next will be our foreign news.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
don't make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal eye.
Apala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
On the foreign scenes now, British police on Friday shot dead a man wearing a fake suicide vest who stabbed 2 people to death in London and wounded 3 before being wrestled to the ground by bystanders in what the authorities called a terrorist attack. The attacker went on the rampage just before 2 p.m., targeting people at Fishmongers Hall near London Bridge in the heart of the city's financial district, the scene of a deadly attack by Islamist militants 2 years ago. The Times newspaper, citing unnamed government sources, reported that the man had previously been convicted of an Islamist terrorism-related offense and was released from prison about a year ago after agreeing to wear an electronic tag. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said sentences should be served. According to him, and I quote, "It's a mistake to allow serious and violent criminals to come out of prison early, and it is very important that we get out of that habit and that we enforce the appropriate sentences for dangerous criminals, especially for terrorists." End of quote.
It is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to inform you that, as well as the suspect who was shot dead by police, 2 of those injured in this attack in the London Bridge area have tragically lost their lives.
I would also like to thank members of the public who risked their own safety this afternoon. They are the best of us. Terrorism is cowardly and evil. We must and we will stand united and resolute in the face of terror.
Now, set on the foreign news. Up next is our business news. And in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $323.5 million into the retail secondary market intervention sales for its last intervention for November. The CBN Director, Corporate Communications Department, Isaac Okorafor, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Okorafor said the bank also intervened with 17.9 million Chinese yuan in the spot and short-tenured forward segment of the interbank foreign markets. He explained that the dollar's intervention was for requests in the agricultural and raw material sectors, while the Chinese yuan was for renminbi-denominated letters of credit. He expressed satisfaction over the stability of the foreign exchange, which he attributed to the sustained intervention by the bank. The director gave the assurance that the bank remained committed to ensuring that all sectors of the forex market continue to enjoy access to foreign exchange, especially during the forthcoming Yuletide season. Still on business, the Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved $210 million financing package for the Nigeria Transmission Expansion Project. The bank, in a statement issued on Friday, said that the package sought to rehabilitate and upgrade the nation's power lines and improve distribution and supply. According to the African Development Bank, the projects, which will run across Kano, Kaduna, Delta, Edo, Anambra, Imo, and Abia, will improve the capacity and reliability of the Nigerian transmission grid where it is most constrained. Tepe 1 is part of $1.6 billion transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, TREP. The statement quoted Ebrima Fall, the African Development Bank Senior Director for Nigeria, as saying that the project would reduce Nigeria's power deficit. And that's it on business. And still ahead of Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports news. We will be back in a moment. Stay with us.
I personally think a lot of Nigerians see themselves as entrepreneurs. There's so much we don't have. You see that there's a large market. So I think that drives people to want to start a business. We need to start looking at each individual Nigerian, an uncle, an aunt, a friend, your son, your boyfriend. When they come to you with incomplete stories, challenge it. When your son, who just finished graduating school, comes home with a new Mercedes-Benz and you clap for him instead of questioning where he got it from, that is corruption. When your dad, all of a sudden, who works at the Ministry of XYZ or is just a second level at his private sector job, now is buying a house in London, question it. You can't solve corruption when it goes down like water going down a hill. It's not possible. People who have good stories to tell tend to stay very quiet, and I don't know why.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
In entertainment, Leonardo DiCaprio has been slammed by Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro for donating to officials at non-profit organizations accused of igniting the Amazon rainforest fires. Local police recently raided the headquarters of two charities in the state of Para, where a number of volunteer firefighters were briefly taken into custody as part of an investigation into the origins of the ongoing blazes, which have raged since summer. The firefighters have denied allegations suggesting they purposefully set the fires as part of a scheme to boost funding. But controversial leader Bolsonaro has seized on the claims and insists celebrity conservationist DiCaprio, who pledged $5 million through his Earth Alliance Foundation to help fight the wildfires, is partly responsible for the environmental disaster. DiCaprio is yet to comment on Bolsonaro's remarks. And that will be it on entertainment at this hour. The very best in sports coming up right after this short break.
And in sports, the Football Federation in Chile has announced it is to cancel the rest of the season due to security concerns following weeks of anti-government protests. All matches were suspended when the violence began 6 weeks ago. And the 6 remaining fixtures have all been cancelled and no teams will be relegated or promoted. Universidad Católica, who were leading the championship by 13 points, have been declared the champions. And the opponents have agreed to abandon the rest of the season and give Universidad Católica a 14th league title. The World Rally Championship motor race Rally Chile has also been cancelled due to the unrest. And still in sports, newly appointed Premier League Chief Executive David Pemsel has resigned before starting the job he was appointed for back in October. And Pemsel, who was due to start in February, has stood down following newspaper allegations about his private life. And the Premier League said Richard Masters will stay as interim chief executive. And Pemsel was the third person to be offered the job following the departure of ex-chief executive Richard Scudamore, who left in November 2018. And Pemsel's appointment was unanimously approved at a special Premier League shareholders meeting in October. And that's it on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Many thanks, Udoka Njoko, with the sports news there. And that's also our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please to join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and do have yourselves a great day.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I actually moved back to Nigeria to open a bakery. This was my goal, and everything I did up till this point was in preparation for this. First of all, life was great because I moved in 2015 right before the recession, right? It was awesome. I was like, wow, there's so much money out here, man. The cost of overheads, power generation, water, you have to be your own local government. And there are no tax breaks. Many places where, where they realize the small business environment is difficult would offer some kind of tax breaks and incentives. We don't do that out here. We want you to come back. We want you to, to start businesses here, but we're not going to do anything to help you. All my experiences in the past have led me ultimately to where I am now.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Welcome to another episode of Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. My name is Sumayuna Jefe. Today's episode will be focusing on entertainment across the continent, from drumming, singing, dancing, and rap. We start with Huguette, a female drummer from Congo who has been practicing drums for 15 years.
Huguette Tolinga loves music more than anything, especially her drums. For 15 years, the 22-year-old has been practicing whenever she can and playing wherever she goes. When I play, it's like climbing up somewhere high. But in the end, I find myself still on the ground. The percussionist lives in Kalamu district, where she rehearses with her band Ugembo in front of an audience of local youngsters. In Congo, drumming is a predominantly male pursuit, so Tolinga had to learn everything on her own, mostly by watching other musicians play. There was always conflict within her family. For this reason, she left the family home at the age of 19. At first, it was really difficult. It was not easy to get my family to accept what I'm doing here. But acceptance has come, from her family as well as from the men in the local drumming scene. Normally I play with men. Huguette is different from other women. She's just great. For me, it's amazing. Not strange, but amazing. She's an extraordinary girl. André Yoka is a music professor at the National Institute of Arts. He explains that the drum is a sacred object for the Congolese people. The female image is also fetishized, he says, so bringing the two together can be seen as problematic. The woman is a fetish. When you go to war, do not touch women. When you go fishing, do not touch women. When you go hunting, you must not touch women. If you touch women, you lose. And so the woman is also an object of taboo, and two objects of taboo cannot be together. But Tolinga does not want to give up her dream. She encourages other women to join her, regularly meeting to play music spontaneously. Young people from the area watch her with interest. Tolinga is now well known in Kinshasa, but she still has problems. The 22-year-old is still looking for a producer to support her, so far without success. But she is determined. One day, I'm going to open up a cultural centre to train other artists. Tolinga is already a role model for many girls. Now she wants to get to the top and become a big star in the Congo.
From the drummer in Congo, we go to a self-taught drummer in Kenya who learned his ancestral sound from his grandmother.
When John Rapasa Otieno was a child, he learned the centuries-old sounds of his ancestors while listening to his grandmother sing and watching her traditional dances. He decided to follow in her footsteps. He taught himself how to build and master more than 10 traditional instruments like this nyatiti.
There's need for the young ones to get to know the instrument, to get to know of their land, their people, their music, their environment. And that's why we decided to at least share with them the knowledge that we have of the instruments.
The instrument is a sound box that's tapped by the player, who often taps metal rings at the same time. Rapasa holds workshops to inspire more youngsters to play the traditional instrument from the Luo ethnic group in Western Kenya.
It's what we need to keep our culture alive. And I think Rapasa is really doing much in promoting our culture.
Rapasa didn't have the funds to buy his drums, sound boxes, or harps, so he started building them by collecting used and natural materials like the sisal plant, animal skins, wood, or metal. Sometimes he finds the cans he needs for his rattles at Nairobi's dump sites.
I saw the struggle of people asking, so where do we get that nyatiti? Where do we get that root? Where do we get that peke? Where do we get that nyangile or sanduku, you know? Yeah, so I decided, no, I will travel to these places. I will learn how to make them. And I will learn these sounds and bring them close to the people.
The nyatiti is Rapasa's principal instrument. This 8-string harp originated in Egypt. It was later played by the Luo people of Kenya. The lower 4 strings symbolize the first 4 days after a boy's birth, and the upper 4 strings represent the first 4 days after a man's death. It is traditionally played only by men.
I believe that whatever we are doing will change many. For example, you know, the kids will only do whatever they see every day. I think it's necessary for them to learn this so that it's something that is passing, because I also find people playing them. So that is how I also got inspired.
John Rapasa Otieno teaches youth how to play these traditional instruments free of charge. He's dedicated to upholding his grandmother's cultural traditions. Today, he performs for audiences whenever he can to make this ancient music popular once again.
So what's drumming without dancing? We head to Guinea-Bissau, where a young man is trying to ensure that the cultural dances from his country do not become extinct. Interesting.
4 o'clock. Time for one more rehearsal in Bandim Quarter, in the capital of Guinea-Bissau. Hector Diogenes Casamá directs the Netos de Bandim, Portuguese for Bandim's grandchildren. The group, which has more than 100 members of all ages, promotes the culture of Guinea-Bissau. They've already rescued 23 traditional dances from oblivion. Part of our work is going to a specific region where an ethnic group lives, and we collect information about the dance, music, and costumes. Later in Bissau, the group works on the dance and on the cultural components we rescued. Since its foundation in the year 2000, Netos de Bandim has won almost all the local and national carnival parades, gaining popularity among the youth. Through traditional dances and music, Netos de Bandim has helped keep children off the streets and given them an opportunity. Megalino Suarez de Gama grew up without parents. Today, he is a popular percussionist. I used to lead the life of a street child. I hung around in the streets doing bad things like stealing. But Netos de Bandim changed my life completely. Now I'm studying law at the university. Hector Casamá's initiative helps teenagers to discover their own talents and overcome obstacles in their lives. Most of the children in Netos de Bandim are vendors, orphans. They spend almost 70% of their time doing some work. And we support children in terms of education and health care. The organization relies solely on shows to generate income. There's no external support. Half of the profits go towards supporting the young dancers, such as Myra Paulino Ju, who recently graduated. I used to spend time as a vendor at the market. But Netos de Bandim's help enabled me to go to school every day. Now I don't go to the Bandim market anymore. I'm too busy at school. Netos de Bandim also offers literacy training for parents and vocational courses for the young. Currently, the group has partnerships with several schools and training centers. We have 10 to 15 young people attending training courses. Netos de Bandim have already taken Guinea-Bissau's culture to Gambia, Senegal, and Portugal, and to Carnival in Brazil.
Now, from dancing to more dancing, we head to Chad, where there's an open-air practice for children to discourage them from becoming potential targets for terrorist recruits.
6 o'clock in the morning in central N'Djamena. Dance practice with street children in the open air. Choreographer Aleva Nadavogo Yud is doing this to stop the children from falling into the wrong hands. If the children just hang around on the streets, they become potential targets for terrorists. When we talk of terror today, street children are at a high risk because they have lost hope. And someone who's lost hope might drink and may be ready to do anything for money. For example, working for the Boko Haram militants. No one speaks openly about it, but just about 60 kilometers away in the Lake Chad region, the presence of terrorists can be felt. What looks like a harmless dance is actively preventing terrorism. After 1.5 years of intensive training, the boys have come to trust their instructor. Aleva is my role model. I would also like to become a musician, an artist. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do in the future. Jakub still lives on the street, but Aleva has managed to get him a job at a carpenter's workshop. He doesn't get paid, but he at least gets something to eat. Aleva lives right next to the workshop with his wife and his child. He loves his daughter and spends every free moment with her. A love which most of the boys have never experienced. A love that fights against terror. Aleva is traveling to the other side of Chari River. He wants to visit 3 brothers who lived on the street for months. Thanks to Aleva, the boys return back home. Their father is jobless and divorced. He has enough problems of his own. Whether they're here or not doesn't really matter. It's their decision. I can't force them into anything. Aleva has a different view. It's much easier when they're here. I can pick them up, work with them professionally, and then bring them back home. Aleva has photos taken for the project. For him, having the twins and their small brother back with their family means success, especially since terrorists cannot reach them here. Some of Aleva's boys spend the night at his place. Whether drunk or sober, the dancer accepts them just the way they are. At first, it was just one boy who would sleep here. Now 30 or more sometimes come. For this, Aleva had to convince members of his family and also the landlord to accept the street children into his home. When I started taking care of the children, everyone was against it. My parents and especially the mother to my daughter. But I told her, she either accepts the children or she can pack her things and go. In the end, she accepted it. We're still together, and nowadays she's the one who begs me to bring the children home so that they don't have to sleep on the street. My girlfriend understood that I'm doing this out of love. And the children can feel this too. Each and every day, a little bit more.
Great initiative. Now from dancing, we go to rap. Angola's rapper is taking big risk with his lyrics.
In other countries, it's just an art form. In Angola, it can be dangerous. Rapper MCK works on his songs in a hidden studio in Luanda.
Chamado a tribunal, acusado de golpista, barrado no aeroporto, feito terrorista. A bofia me pediu para ter cuidado, eu disse eu sou cuidado, investigo a voz do ar, não tenho fama de bandido. Sempre fui artista, só falo, não mato, sou rapper de ativista, não calo, sou chato, filósofo e jurista.
MCK, alias Katrogi Nanga Luamba, denounces police violence and poverty. He studied philosophy and uses music to express his desire for democracy in an authoritarian country. My dream is for the country to change. I don't want to emigrate. I want to stay here in Angola and work towards improving my country. I would like to see an Angola with happier people, people that are proud to live here. The rapper grew up in the Makuluso slum in Angola's capital, Luanda. Everyone here knows him. He used to sell clothes on the streets and then began rapping. His experiences in the slums have influenced his lyrics. It is really hard. If you manage to escape drugs and crime as a 20-year-old, then you're effectively a hero here. But you can do it if you believe in yourself and invest in your life. I'm trying to give something back to this neighborhood. Today he wants to perform in Luanda together with his friend and rapper Luati Bairaun. who was imprisoned for a year, accused of planning a rebellion against the president. Even though the government has consistently banned their concerts in the past, they're optimistic this time. They've already found a venue.